like and subscribe to Skybox Sports News.
Well, it was built to be the fight of 2017, and in a lot of ways it did not disappoint. This is how our Dan Rayfield scored it. 8 rounds to 4 in favor of Gennady Golovkin, but three judges in Las Vegas were watching a different fight. They've awarded it a draw. And so Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez go 12 rounds. They go the distance in Las Vegas, and it's ruled a draw. Kevin Connors, John Butchergross, we both saw the fight very differently.
Yeah, I thought it was Triple G's night from the get-go. He had Canelo on his heels, but, scrolling through Twitter and just various people watching the fight, some thought Canelo won. It's that old human adage where two people look at the same thing and see two different things, but I thought clearly Triple G was the aggressor and set the tone. I thought it was his night.
There's the word I was going to use. He was the aggressor. He kept Canelo on his heels for a lot of the fight. But again, 3 people in Vegas who were scoring the fight saw it differently. Teddy Atlas is going to join us, break down what happened. Teddy said his prediction before the fight would be that Canelo Alvarez would win the fight, potentially in controversial fashion. He didn't win, but there's some controversy here, Bucci.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what Teddy says. Watching the fight with Teddy Atlas, that certainly is a bucket list thing going on. And you and I were like, this is Triple G, this is Triple G. But Teddy's like, nah, not so fast, my friend. We'll have to wait and see. And Canelo did bring it on late, the last 3 rounds. How much that swayed the judges, and we'll have to see the official card as it comes out. Did that, in the end, get him the tie.
Stephen A. Smith will join us from Las Vegas momentarily. It's the first blemish, if you will, on Gennady Golovkin's perfect record. Of course, Canelo Alvarez had a 1 loss, 1 draw coming into this fight, the only loss in his career to the great Floyd Mayweather. And what this means, in all likelihood, Bucci, it's the old adage in boxing, the only thing where there's more money than the actual fight is the rematch. And I think we're going to see a rematch here because the best case scenario to come out of this would likely have been a showdown with Miguel Cotto, who's at the end of his career. Cotto's a money fighter. That'd be a big fight that they'd get in New York City, likely, where Cotto would bring a big payday. But it would appear that we might be looking at a rematch in Las Vegas. Again, here's how Dan Rayfield scored it. He gave the first round of the fight to Canelo Alvarez, and then from there, an onslaught for Triple G. According to Dan, Golovkin won 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 before the last round went to Canelo Alvarez. But a different story for the 3 judges in Las Vegas who saw it a little bit differently. And we're joined now by World Championship trainer Teddy Atlas. We watched the fight together, Teddy.
Told you so. Told you controversy.
You did.
Said it all week.
Well, what's your reaction to the decision?
Corruption in boxing. Follow the money. And no one else is going to say that in boxing, and some people are going to be very upset. And I don't care. I don't care if they're upset.
But what do you mean by corruption?
Because there's no way. I got a 118, 110. Okay, let's not go off a round. And let's make it 117 to 111. It's one guy winning the fight. I mean, one guy was the ocean, the other guy was the log for most of the fight. The ocean usually wins in that battle.
Yeah.
When I watch and I go out there and I look in the Atlantic Ocean, the ocean moves the log around. The ocean is the champion. The ocean was Golovkin, but not in boxing. Boxing doesn't honor the things that should be honored. It honors money, control, power. And there's only certain power brokers in boxing, certain promoters, and they have the power. They have control who the judges agree, who the judges aren't going to be. So who the judges know if they want there for a rematch. I mean, there's no other way to. How could I stand here all week and say that it's going to be a controversial outcome? Yeah. How do I know that? How do I know? Early on, I had said that Golovkin 2 years ago would knock out Canelo, but the fight got closer. It did get closer because he would have got knocked out 2 years ago. But he fought in spots, but he didn't fight enough to win. He fought in spots to survive. He being Canelo. Spots to survive. Spots to win here and there, to keep the ocean from putting him way up on the shore if he's the log. But at the end of the day, he didn't do enough to win. He survived. He knew that if he survived and he had spots, anything could happen. This could happen. The judges could take it from there. It is, and again, I don't give a damn about the promoters out there. And I picked the promoter who's on top. I picked that guy to win. But I don't care if they're mad and they're angry, because the truth is the truth. Yeah. That's the problem with the sport. And people will be satisfied to a certain extent, but people will be sickened and will say, I can't continue to love something that doesn't love me back.
I think a lot of fight fans feel that way. Stephen A. Smith joins us from Vegas. Stephen A., you've heard Teddy Atlas. What's your reaction?
Hello.
Stephen A., what's your reaction? Teddy Atlas feels it was Triple G going away. What's your reaction?
Well, listen, I don't think it was Triple G going away. I thought the fight was closer. I had it 115, 113 for Triple G. But the reality of the situation is that this has been tarnished by a judge that clearly had no business judging the fight. Adelaide Bird, whatever her name is, 118, 110, she needs to be tested immediately. Makes no sense whatsoever. There's no way in hell that it's a 118, 110. That's a completely lopsided fight on either end. She had it for Canelo. There's no way on earth that Canelo won 118, 110. You want to sit up there and say a draw, fine. You want to have him ahead by 1 round, I totally and emphatically disagree, but that's fine. It was a valiant effort on his part. He fought a tremendous fight, but Teddy's absolutely right. He fought in spots. He would connect with a good punch here or there. He would fight for 20 or 30 seconds, but after that, he'd take the rest of the round off while he was continuously and perpetually being stalked. Triple G couldn't find a right hand all night long. That much is true, but he was connecting enough to accumulate punches. I had him winning the fight 113, and again, it's not the fact that it's a draw. As much as I don't like it, I think it's weak because I want a decided winner. I don't want to hear draw. I do understand those who believe it was a close fight. But to have Canelo Alvarez winning 118, 110, that judge needs to be tested now. Not an hour from now, not 2 hours from now, not tomorrow morning. She needs to be tested now. Whoever he or she is, Adelaide Bird, whoever it is, 118, 110, they didn't know what the hell they were watching. They weren't watching a boxing match tonight that everybody else, millions on pay-per-view and thousands in attendance, were watching. This judge does not know what they're doing. I'm not going to talk about getting fixed and all of that stuff. I'm not going to discredit the sport that way. But I'm going to tell you, this particular judge did not show up to work tonight. Something is wrong. They didn't know what they were doing. 118, 110, please.
Well, Stephen A. doesn't want to go there, but Teddy, I get the sense that you want to go. When you say corruption,
I don't discredit the sport. I discredit the so-called executors of the sport, the people that are supposedly supposed to be enforcing the sport, looking out for the sport, ruling over the sport. I put an indictment on them. An indictment on them. They are corrupt. I have no problem saying it. They are corrupt. There's no way that you see 118 to 110 for Canelo and you say, well, it's just a mistake. It was just my judge. No, it's not a mistake. That can't be a mistake. Look, this sport has shown history.
I'd like to respond.
We all want to ignore it, but this sport has shown history of corruption. The IBF years ago, Bob Lee, the president, he got caught on videotape taking money. He was the president of the IBF. Everyone forgets a few years ago, there was a woman judge, $30,000 wound up in her bank account after a bad decision. What is that? What is that?
Hold it. May I respond?
Go ahead, Stephen A.
May I respond? Teddy Atlas is a treasure to this sport. I'm proud to call him a colleague, and I appreciate his candor and his honesty. But I don't care what sport you pick. There are always individuals in there who are either corrupt or inept, incompetent, or all three, even though I would lump inept and incompetent in the same breath. The point that I'm trying to make is the actions of one individual or even several individuals does not contaminate the entire sport. Teddy Atlas, I don't blame him for feeling the way that he feels because he's a treasure to the sport. He has honored this sport for decades. I know when I talk boxing, I want to hear what he has to say. He has counseled me on many occasions. I love the man like my brother and colleague, but I am not going to sit up here and condemn and indict the entire sport of boxing. Tonight, it was one judge. Her name was Adelaide Bird, who did not show up to work, or showed up to work with something clearly wrong with her, she needs to be tested for something, because something is wrong if you judge the fight 118-110. But that is one individual. You can eradicate them, make sure they don't judge the next fight or the fight after that, and go on from there. Certainly there's money in a rematch. We understand that. You had people that was sitting next to me in the media section, Teddy, that really thought it was a draw. I emphatically disagreed with them. But the fact that it was a draw is not the issue here. The issue here is the 118-110 score. If you had somebody picking Triple G 115 to 113, and then you had another judge picking him to lose 115-113, I don't think anybody could sit up there and look at the sport and say, oh, it's rigged, it's fixed, or anything like that. It's the one judge that judged it 118-110. Let's put it in perspective and look at it that way.
Again, the sport, and I love Steven, the sport is a great sport. It's the greatest sport of all.
You made your living in it.
The greatest sport of all. It's the only sport. This life, this world can be unfair, okay? Sometimes we make too many excuses, we do, and we try to play ourselves as victims, and we're not victims in this beautiful country. We can be anything we want to be. But sometimes, even with that, life is unfair. This is the sport, the one sport where on any given night, a kid from anywhere, from dirt floors to where he was from a country that he didn't have the rights, he didn't have money, he had nothing but poverty, he didn't have parents, he didn't have anything. But he had it in his chest, in his heart, to work hard, to get in that ring, to be ready, to be trained. And on one given night, he can have his hand raised and be called champion of the world and make life fair, make the world fair. It's the only sport that can do that. The sport is beautiful, but the administrators of the sport, they stink.
Teddy, my man. You know, I got a dear friend of mine. His name is Jeff Brown. He's out in California. I've known him all my life. He has a saying, fair is a place where they judge pigs. It does not exist. You've known this for many more years than I have. Just because you have somebody that's incompetent, and just because you have someone that makes it look unfair, let's not indict the entire sport.
Steven,
it's a damn shame.
It's a damn shame. We're going to be doing this again a month from now. We're going to be doing this again 3 months from now.
In a lot of sports.
But not as much as this sport.
I love the sport of boxing too much to do that to them. I'm not going to do that to the sport.
Steven,
this decision by this judge was bogus.
The environment, the landscape of the sport is set up to be corrupted. It's set up. There's no separation of church and state. It's where the people making money with the people controlling and administrating the sport. There's no separation. The promoters are allowed to pick judges. They're allowed to be involved in saying who doesn't judge and who does judge. When you have that kind of closeness between the people making money and the people administrating the sport, there's a landscape for corruption. You can't put people together like that. One person wants to make money, the other person's supposed to be in charge and be the police. You can't put them together like that.
Teddy, wherever there's big money, there's room for corruption. We understand that, but that's not restricted to the sport of boxing. At the end of the day, two guys got in the ring. They fought valiantly for 12 rounds. We have a problem with one judge's decision. That's what this comes down to. We have a problem with one judge's decision.
There's money to be made in the casino business, but there is an oversight board to make sure there's no corruption. There's no oversight board in boxing. There's no commission. There's no national commission. No federal guidelines. Nobody looking and saying, can't do that. Can't do that. You can't be in charge. Promoter can't be in charge of who the judges are going to be. No, of course you want these judges. You can't be in charge. We're in charge. We're going to oversee it. We're going to police it. We're going to make sure that there's no corruption. There's nothing. There's everywhere else in the garment business, there's corruption. But there's an oversight. In the Wall Street, there's corruption. But there's oversight.
There's an oversight and there's consequences. Calm down. Hold on, Teddy. There's always been, yes, you have oversight. But even with oversight, I could sit here and give you a laundry list of situations in various sports where there was oversight and there was still corruption. What happens is there's ramifications for those corruptions and that you eliminate it. The fact of the matter is, with this judge, you eliminate this person. You make sure Judge Bird, the official Bird, is not around.
She will be working again. I'll make you a bet. I love you. I make you a bet.
Okay. All I'm saying to you is this. That may be true, but that doesn't make the entire sport corrupt. That's all I'm saying.
It's not the sport. It makes the process corrupt. The process is vulnerable to be corrupted.
I'll tell you this much. I don't like the outcome, Teddy. Hold on, Teddy. I don't like the outcome. I especially abhor the decision by the judge. But I will tell you this. I saw a great fight tonight. That was a sensational fight on the part of Triple G and Canelo Alvarez. And everybody who came here got their money's worth. Now, the decision was bogus. Make no mistake about it. Draws are weak as far as I'm concerned. Pick a damn winner. You got me there. There's no denying that. 118, 110. I've said enough about that daggone judge. As far as I'm concerned, she should be exiled from the sport of boxing for making such a bogus decision like that. But at the end of the day, what we paid to see, what Golden Boy Promotions put together, let's give credit where credit is due. We got a hell of a fight tonight. Canelo Alvarez showed up. Now, I don't think he won the fight, but he put forth an incredible showing. I was very proud and respected his effort. And as far as I'm concerned, if it was anybody other than Triple G, I think he would have knocked him out because he hit Triple G with some haymakers, and Triple G just kept coming. But Triple G, as slow as a snail, couldn't connect on a right all night long, was still accumulating points, got a body shots, hit left hooks, caught with a couple of rights, even though he missed about 90% of them. And at the end of the day, it was a hell of a fight. There's no question about it. I'm not going to sit up here and indict the sport of boxing, especially with somebody like you who I love and cherish dearly, being associated with the sport of boxing. I'm not going to sit up here and look at it with a level of corruption and just the insidious nature in which you label it. I'm not going to look at it that way because I love this sport, and this sport did not cheat me tonight. That referee, that official, cheated the hell out of us, no doubt. But this sport did not cheat us. They gave us a hell of a fight.
The sport and the fighters are pure. That doesn't change. They didn't cheat us. They never cheat us. They always give us the best. It's the administrators that cheat us. And now we've been taken to a place where we should be satisfied. Even though they do the wrong thing, we should be sad. Well, at least it was a good fight. Yeah, of course it was a good fight. Of course it was a terrific fight.
It was a great fight.
But of course it was. But we should forget about the robbery because it was a good fight. What if it wasn't a good fight?
No, you don't forget about it. No, you don't forget about it.
That's what happens.
No, you don't forget about it.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
Let me ask you a question.
We start
Let me ask you a question. No. Let me ask you a question. I want to go to history. I want to go to history. When you saw Melger,
the history is what I'm talking about. That's the history.
Teddy, listen to me. Listen to me, Terry.
All right.
Teddy, listen. When Melger Taylor got dropped by Julio Cesar Chavez, and that fight was stopped with 2 seconds left, and we all know he would have won a decision, were you not disgusted? When we saw Pernell Whitaker take Julio Cesar Chavez to school and they called it a draw, were we not disgusted with that decision? But we still remembered the fight. We still remember the greatness of the fight. Whether it's Oscar, whether it's Sugar Ray, whether it's Hagler, the list goes on and on. Hagler got robbed and then came back in the rematch and knocked the dude out in the first round. We've seen this happen before. It happens. That doesn't mean you don't appreciate the greatness of the sport. I'm not going to let you do that to me, bro. I love the sport and I love you. I'm not going to let you do that to me. I saw a great fight tonight. The judge was garbage. She deserves to be exiled, but the fight didn't cheat us. We got what we came for. The decision is the decision.
I'm saying that I love the sport. I love these fighters. I love what they represent. I love what they do. I love what they risk. I love what they put themselves through. I don't love the administrators of this sport.
Neither do I. Who does? Who loves any administrator? Who loves any administrator?
No other sport does this happen on a regular basis. Who loves administrators? What other sport does this happen to on a regular basis? None.
What other sport do you see people saying we love the administrators? What's wrong with you, Teddy? I mean, even in the NFL, everybody decries Roger Goodell. Nobody loves administrators.
Listen, don't twist it around because you're a college graduate and you're trying to twist it around and be real quick on your words. Stop that crap. Stop it. Stop it. We're talking about, let's be straight here.
Nobody loves administrators.
Come on, let's stop it. There is no administration of a sport
it's a bogus decision.
that has been worse than boxing. Nobody has a worse track record than boxing. Nobody. And other sports.
That's true.
Other sports.
True. I'm not arguing that.
And again,
I'm just saying it doesn't take away from the greatness of the fight.
Other sports have an oversight, a police station, something that at the end of the day, they try to get it right. They look at it. They correct it. They make sure that at least they're there to keep the wolf from the door. There's nobody there to keep the bad wolf from the door in boxing. There is nobody policing it. This stuff goes on too often. Too often, Stephen. Too often, Stephen.
I wouldn't say too often. It's happened enough. There's no doubt about that. But the bottom line is we saw a great fight tonight. We've seen a lot of great fights. We go to the boxing matches every time thinking that the judges, hopeful that the judges will see the fight as we've seen it. So most times they do, sometimes they don't, and other times they are absolutely positively egregious, and there's no excusing it, and those referees, those officials should be banned. But outside of that, it is what it is. Fair is a place where they judge pigs, man. It doesn't exist, and we can't expect fairness all the damn time, particularly when there's big money to be made in a rematch. I understand where you're coming from. You're right about that, but it is what it is.
Please like and subscribe to Skybox Sports News.